Hi there, Bartholomew Perez, engineer, realtor in California and Florida, author and investor. Silence. It's a very powerful thing, and yet we find ourselves being so uncomfortable with silence. It's wild because if we find ourselves alone in a room, we'll be surrounded by silence, but the moment that we come face to face for an interaction, it all of a sudden becomes awkward. For the longest, speaking publicly gave me anxiety. And I think because I was uncomfortable with silence, at the same time, I was shy. I didn't have very good social skills, and those were things that I had to practice. Silence is a tool. Silence is a tool. I'm done with that. Silence is a tool. And if we know how to use it, we can make our points become that much more significant and impactful, memorable for the audience to take away and be able to really carry what your message is really about. My thing is, silence does not have to be deafening. It could be the most exponentially significant tool you can use as a public speaker. Yeah, I know one of those things that we just have to practice. And I think just being mindful and conscious of what that looks like, we become better speakers. I found myself in a situation yesterday during my dance class where we had a moment of silence. My partner and I were just staring at each other, into each other's soul. And she freaked out. And the reason I know, she started looking down and she started fidgeting her hands, and it got kind of clammy. I laughed because that was me once upon a time. And I had to work to the point where I was no longer in that situation where I would be drenched in sweat. I would shake. I would get clammy hands, and we know all that. If we're in a recruiting event or talking in a public setting and we're shaking hands, making introductions, clammy. Yeah, not the cutest thing ever. And we want to be mindful of those things because those interactions that might be filled with silence are powerful. I think it also gives us a sense of confidence because we know how to address those situations. When it comes to silence, it could be a mutual understanding between two people. I think if we can sit in a room with somebody else and it's completely silent, it also means that we're probably comfort with that other person or persons. Or maybe we're just watching a really good movie or some really good play or some really good intense video game action. I don't know. But silence, it doesn't have to be scary. It could be a very powerful tool. Play with it. See what you can make sense of that silence, because silence can be a very beautiful thing, very poetic, very dramatic, very silent. I know, deafening. Doesn't have to be. Anyway, Bartholomew Perez signing off, engineering, realtor, author, and investor. To be continued.